Whoa.
After all these years, to be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
I know Kung Fu. Or, or something like that. Salutations, everyone. I'm Niru Bikoshi, and welcome back to the Matrix. The Matrix. The Matrix is an interesting one for me in my childhood. It is one of the first R-rated movies I've seen when I was a kid. Uh, when I was about 6 or 5. Like it was this movie and Kill Bill Volume 1, because I never saw Volume 2 when I was a kid. I only saw Volume 2 when I was in middle school. So it took a very much long time for me to finally see that. But I've seen both Matrix movies when I was young, the first one and Reloaded, and also the Animatrix, which was probably the me dipping in my toes into getting into anime. Uh, and what did I thought about the Matrix movies when I was young? Were they scary to me? Not that much. I can say like a few people have said like they weren't ready when they were young when the Matrix come out, like, oh, I'm not ready to watch this or anything, and they felt like they haven't grown enough to see it. But when I was a kid, the movie was all there was going to be a sequel already coming out, and my dad decided to put this movie on, and I actually enjoyed it when I was little. I This was like Matrix was my introduction to almost a lot of things. Um my introduction to like a lot of the actors that I like today, like, Lawrence Fishburne, Keanu Reeves, Hugo Weaving, Carrie Ann Moss, etc., etc. There was a lot of actors I liked in that movie. Uh, this was kind of like one of also my first introductions to sci-fi. And Star Wars obviously was like the big introduction to sci-fi movies, but Matrix was one of those big impacts as well, showing me a lot of kung fu, like martial arts, that I grew to love in the Matrix movies. That I thought were the best things about those movies was the martial arts. I loved it, especially one of my favorites being the Burly Man fight in Matrix Reloaded, where Neo has to fight against all these Agent Smiths. Well, not agents, but Mr. Smith, because he's no longer an agent in that movie. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever back then as a kid, as well as the Animatrix, which introduced me to a lot of good create like directors in the anime industry, like Shinochuri Watanabe. Is that how you pronounce his name? I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. You know him as the creator of Cowboy Bebop. He directed 2 short films in that film. There was also one of my favorites, that I think it's everyone's favorite, Beyond, which is about like this teenage, or probably 20 in her 20-ish woman, that meets a group of these kids, voiced by, Phil and Lil from Rugrats. I'm not kidding. And they find like this haunted house, but this haunted house is not haunted. It's a glitch in the Matrix, where they come across a lot of glitches in this so-called haunted house, and they have fun in it. and they don't know what was the cause of it, but they don't know it's because it was a glitch in the matrix. They probably think it's supernatural, something superstitious, basically. And then the agents come in and destroy that house to fix it. And my favorite scene in that end of it, and spoilers if you haven't seen it, because I love this ending to the short, is when the girl cuts herself with the broken glass bottle, and you can see the blood dripping. But if you hear closely in that short, you hear the blood already dropping to the ground. But once the blood actually drops, when you actually see it drop, you notice it was delayed. Like the blood drop sounds were fast, while the actual blood dripping was delayed, which I thought was a nice touch. I thought that was a pretty damn good short. Uh, anyway, the Matrix movies were a big thing in my life as a kid. It was like my introduction to everything that I love today, like martial arts movies, like kung fu and such, or karate and such, and also sci-fi. The sci-fi genre I love, and cyberpunk, and I think the main aspect of all is anime. Matrix was like that big impact that was like it was like this one big thing that slowly had me transitioning to other genres of like media and pulp culture throughout the years slowly, and I think I like to thank Matrix for that, especially knowing that seeing the look of that film, you can tell that the Wachowskis were inspired by a lot of things. And, one of them that people, which is common knowledge, that they were inspired by Ghost in a Shell a lot as well. And I think if I remember correctly, they showed a bunch of Hollywood producers the movie Ghost in a Shell, and they said, we want to make this, basically, which I thought was pretty cool, because you can tell from a lot, like the Wachowskis were inspired by when they do like the martial arts and fighting and how they direct it. It feels like it is in an anime, but also it feels like it came from a martial arts movie from China, something like from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or a Jackie Chan movie, which was pretty cool. Like you, or something from Jet Li, like the movie Hero. And I I was very interested in that. I really did love that kind of fighting. I always loved, like, my favorite types of fight scenes are done by martial arts or close quarters combat, basically, or sword fights. I love sword fights. I love martial arts. I love them more than gunplay. But if it's a John Woo movie, then it's going to be gun fu. So that's even better. uh, so yeah, that is like my enjoyment with the Matrix movies. I did enjoy the Matrix movies when growing up. I did enjoy the first one. I did enjoy the second one. I didn't get to see the third one when I was young because my dad said that movie's terrible. And I finally did watch it, and I was like thinking it kind of was a letdown. But then you can argue the fact that maybe since Reloaded and Revolutions, they came out the same year, and I was shocked about that, thinking like, wait, so they released two Matrix movies in the same year. And I was like thinking that sounds like a dumb decision, but also kind of a smart decision at the same time. But then again, it's like, what if people didn't like something from Reloaded and you can't change that with Revolutions because they're already releasing the film the same year? And you don't know what mistakes you probably made in the second movie that you're like thinking, okay, I think we should learn from our mistakes there. I mean, that's what George Lucas did. He learned his what people didn't like from Phantom Menace, and he tried to fix that with episode 2, and then what he took from the feedback from episode 2, he fixed with episode 3, which is why people say arguably that is the best Star Wars prequel movie. But I'm getting off track on things. Uh, what did I think about the Wachowskis? I want to get over with that. Am I gonna say that their only good movies were The Matrix? No, I liked Bound with Jennifer Tilly. I thought that movie was good. I really do love Speed Racer. I thought Speed Racer was the best one of the best movies they made. Hell, it's one of the better anime adaptation movies from Hollywood out there, alongside with Alita Battle Angel. Cloud Atlas, I thought was fine. I mean, it was an odd movie. It was trippy. The only film that did white face and Asian face. I'm not kidding because I saw Hugo Weaving with slant eyes. And I even seen an Asian actor turn it became white. They had to widen her eyes as well and made her a redhead and gave her freckles. And when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck were they thinking? I was like, what? Cloud Atlas was a fucking trip of a movie, but I did enjoy it for what it was. And I don't regret watching it. I thought it was a fine movie. The movies they produced, I liked, because I know that they produced, and I think they written a bit of the script as well, of V for Vendetta. I love that movie. I thought V for Vendetta was a great movie. Uh, I don't remember anything else what they made after that. I never saw Jupiter Ascending. I've only seen a nostalgia critic review of it, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, this doesn't look good. But I honestly kind of like the soundtrack. I mean, it's mainly because it's made by one of my favorite composers, Michael Giacchino. Uh, which he makes a lot of good scores, even though he probably rushed the Rogue One score. I did enjoy that score a lot as well. Uh, but yeah, that's probably the only things I've seen from them. I know they contributed with the Matrix video games, and I don't know if they will uh, try their hand at video games, like actually write scripts for video games or make stories of video games, because I feel like the Wachowskis can make some damn good video games, not gonna lie. And I'm not talking about games that are movies, because I know they are more likely focused on gameplay and a bit of the story as well. So hopefully they don't make the game a movie, they make the game a game, which I feel like they could, because they have done a lot of cool Matrix games, especially the Matrix Online, which expanded the lore of Matrix outside the movies. Uh, and that's a good transition to say that Matrix Resurrections does continue that lore from the games, I believe. And this movie feels like a video game. And it's mainly because of Neil Patrick Harris in this film. And it's really fucking ridiculous, but I loved it. Is the movie cashing on nostalgia? Yes. So much it is. Lana and Lily Wachowski said they didn't want to make any more. They wanted to keep The Matrix as a trilogy and keep it at that. No matter how many times Warner Brothers have advanced them to say we should make a fourth Matrix movie, and they keep saying no, we don't want to do that. It's stupid. We don't want to make another Matrix film. And give or take, Warner Brothers could have. Not gonna lie, Warner Brothers could have made a Matrix movie without the Wachowskis, but I feel like maybe they tried and they failed a lot of times because they probably were thinking, how did the Wachowskis do it? And nothing came above it. I mean, I know Warner Brothers probably like kept them aboard, saying like, "Fine, we'll let you direct Speed Racer because you made Matrix. We'll let you make Cloud Atlas because you made the Matrix. We will let you make Jupiter Ascending because you made the Matrix." I feel like that's the reason, that's the excuse they give the Wachowskis so much money, is because that they made the Matrix. I mean, they sure as hell probably will come up with ideas. And sadly, I think the only movies that succeeded was probably Cloud Atlas. Because I think Cloud Atlas had a moderate success in the box office. Uh, I know that I think Speed Racer bombed. I know Jupiter Ascending bombed. But people grown to love Speed Racer for the course of throughout the years, and it became a cult classic after that. Pretty soon it won't be a cult anymore because I think more and more people are gonna like it. But The Matrix has been like this, has grown this big dedicated fan base that loves the movie so much, that are so protective of them, that fell in love with them, even going as far to dress up as the characters once they go to the movie theater and watch it. And it is a beautiful fan base of people. And I think if I remember correctly, people also say they view it as like it is very dedicated with the trans community, since the Wachowskis are trans women, and people think like, oh, it's because this movie's talking about like what you view yourself as and what you believe who you are, and you don't want to live a lie of what you are living, of pretending who you are. That's why, that's why Neo used to be Thomas Anderson, but he doesn't like that. He views himself as Neo, just like how Trinity views herself as Trinity. We don't know her actual name, well, not actual name, her other previous name before that, but the name they give her in Resurrections is pretty stupid because it was like kind of on the nose, kind of humor joke. And I would say this: Resurrections is Warner Brothers' way of cash grabbing on nostalgia, but Lana Wachowski really wrote this film with a sense of hatred, probably, because the beginning of this movie has like this, it's a not so subtle allegory. It is not subtle whatsoever. Beginning of the movie, it starts off like the first Matrix movie. And then the other part happens when you see Neo, or he's now Thomas Anderson, in this in the Matrix, and he is a creator of a video game franchise, or a video game that's made for online players, I think. Like it's an online video game. So basically it's the Matrix Online. And you would think like, oh, what name did they give it? Did they give it something of a different name, but it's the same story like in the trilogy of movies? No, they straight up say it's the Matrix. Like it's the Matrix Online. They said that Thomas Anderson created the a video game called The Matrix. And 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 Thomas Anderson's like so passionate about it, like I created this game, and then the movie straight up says like once Neo goes to his boss is like, Warner Brothers wants us to make a sequel, and it's like, but we can't. It's better as a trilogy, and it's like, I know, but if we don't do anything about it, they're gonna make it with or without us. And and Neo has this look of like pissed, but he is like bored and hating every single moment. Hearing focus groups or people thinking like, what does the Matrix mean? And it just sounds like a bunch of people who don't even fucking understand what the Matrix is about. Cause you just hear like these guys going like, oh, it's about fucking with people's minds, man. Like, just have like a complete mind fuck. And then some people like going like, I gotta be honest with you, I didn't like the first movie. I like the sequels. I want my video games young and dumb and full of action and guns, lots of guns. And there's like fucking Neo just like face palming in the background, like, I hate this. I fucking hate this. And I just feel like this was Lana's way of showing her displeasure of making a fourth Matrix movie. And I was like laughing so hard thinking about, wow, she really did not want to make this movie. And you can tell she didn't want to make this because it's like she feels like it was better being the standalone trilogy. And I respect that. I respect that you don't want to make another one because you feel like, oh, like I know these movies made tons of money, but I want to keep it fresh and not tainted in any way. And you can feel this displeasure. You can feel this hatred of not making this movie. She could have just said fuck you and continue to say fuck you and not make another one. But it probably was a few things. And I watched an interview with her during the premiere saying like she came back to doing it because I guess she was in a depressional period in her life. And once she was offered to do a fourth Matrix movie, probably again for like the 100th time, probably by Warner Brothers, I guess she accepted it because I guess she wanted to climb out of that depression. What because it's like because it feels like making this movie, it's like reuniting with old friends, basically. You know, like reuniting with Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss, who are probably the only people that I guess were available to do the movie because I guess the other actors were probably busy with other stuff, I think. And Lawrence Fishburne's character Morpheus died in the Matrix video games. And they couldn't, that's why he's not back. But she really wanted to reunite this old team that she had during her time with the Matrix movies, and I guess she wanted to do that, and I guess it was her way of coping, basically. And there could be another reason as well. If she doesn't do it, then she's gonna live like annoyed that someone else directed a Matrix movie and they couldn't get it right, probably. And I would be mad too, because that's like, I got scared for a bit, thinking I did not want Matrix Resurrections to be another Terminator Genesis. And that was kind of my big fear. Like, oh God, help us, this might be Genesis. And it felt like that with how much they brought a lot of things back in the first few minutes of the movie, but then it becomes something completely different. But also, it started to feel like, oh, it's technically the same movie, but yet not. Like, it begins the same and it ends the same as the first movie. What I mean by that? Begins with the call, begins with being made, and the cops are after Trinity, and ends with Neo flying in the end of the film. And that's all I can say, because if I say more about the ending, that's spoilers. So I think I'm going to go into spoiler territory at this point right now of it, because it is so ridiculous, but I love it. This movie, and it's the reason why I'm saying it feels like a video game. Neil Patrick Harris is in the movie. Neil Patrick Harris is basically, technically, the architect of this new Matrix. And this architect from this movie is having fun because he is like a walking, like, probably a video game designer. And he's like, hey, Neo, I'm using bullet time against you. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now, Neo? What are you going to do? You can't get me. You can't fight me. You can't punch me. You're slow and I'm fast. And not only that, they talk about like, oh, there's no agents in this world. It's basically bots. So basically NPCs that can fucking kill you if you're posed as a threat. And I was like, oh my God, this is a fucking video game. And it is. They blatantly said that, like, we're gonna take these bots and these bots are going to kill you because they see bots as more effective than agents, basically, because bots can be around, they can surround the area, while it's also connected to a bunch of like people who are in the Matrix who are like living out their lives fine and happy, but they are oblivious to figure out who are bots and who are not bots in this new world. And it's so funny to see because there's this woman probably with her husband or boyfriend or something, and then her husband wakes up and then her husband is just a fucking bot. Like, she married a fucking robot, basically, and he just jumps out the window trying to kill Neo and all the group of crew members that he's with, which I'm very surprised they did not die. No, I'm really shocked because, like, I thought, like, are we gonna do the trend where all the crew members die and that's it? No, they're fine. They lived. They're okay. They are safe. They have a few scrapes and bruises, but they are okay. Which I was like, huh, I thought they were gonna get killed. I guess not. And seeing how all these bots are like coming at them like zombies from Call of Duty, or like the robots in iRobot, basically with how they move. They're just coming at everyone because it's like, because it looks like the majority of the population are bots, and I guess there's only a few people that aren't bots or repurposed AI programs that were in the Matrix, basically. And it was like seeing a video game. Like this was a video game. Like this new Matrix is less humans and more like NPCs basically. And it's so weird to see because it's like because I'm like thinking, well, how many people in the Matrix are actually people? Because remember, the humans to the robots are their source of energy, their source of like recharging because they're basically batteries for them. And I was like wondering, well, how many people do they got? Clearly they don't have enough humans if the entire population are technically NPCs. And it's so funny seeing like these like random civilians like in a bullet train or in a or like jumping out of fucking windows or like just random people, even coffee baristas are like that too, are just doing kung fu and just fighting all these just coming at the actual humans and trying to fucking kill them like they're fucking zombies. Basically, not like Call of Duty zombies per se, but like the stupid World War Z zombies in that Brad Pitt movie that everyone has forgotten about. It felt like that kind of, but better and more entertaining. And I really did love that. I loved how cool it was to see there was something different about this Matrix. Not only that, different about the real world that we see like, oh, the robots and AI are actually teaming up with the humans and they're re we're trying to go and revitalize the world, try to make it better, and they're trying to bring back a lot of fruit, vegetation to the life of the planet, which I was like, oh, cool. That's actually a pretty cool idea that these robots and humans are actually at peace with each other. I thought it was cool, but I was like wondering what's the point? If they are at peace, then why is there still war? And you see like the weirdest thing ever. Both sides, like there were two sides of the robots that wanted to be at peace with the humans, and the other half were like, bitch, how are we gonna survive if we don't have energy to help us stay alive? And and I thought that someone was probably gonna like try to fix the sky, because if I remember correctly in Revolutions, when they flew into the clouds, you saw the sun uh from the highest point of the sky, you saw the sun. And I was like thinking, well, aren't they gonna try and like fix the sky? Like, I know they scorched it, but like, can they fix it? Like, can they like fix the sky and then all robots can be at peace with each other now that they got sunlight to be solar powered again? I mean, they could. Who knows? That could work. I also love that it's not it's not Hugo Weaving as Mr. Smith anymore. It's this other guy, and he plays Neo's boss, basically, in the video game company. And him and Neo have this very gay relationship with each other. And I'm talking about more on Smith. Like Smith's side, he's like very gay, like, I need you, Neo. Like, you give me purpose. And it's so gay because I love it. And I love how gay it is because it's like a relationship. It's a love-hate relationship. He's like, yeah, I could kick Mr. Anderson's ass, but you know what? I ain't gonna kill him. I'm just gonna enjoy fighting him because he gives me purpose. So he's like a villain, but he's a villain that needs a hero because he feels like he won't have purpose if he doesn't have Neo. I love that, especially at like the end point of the movie where you see Neil Patrick Harris trying to kill Neo and Trinity by when he was using the bullet time, but Smith comes in like, hey bitch, get away from him. Boom. Beats the shit out of Neil Patrick Harris. I lo- this movie's ridiculous, but I love it. I especially Neil Patrick Harris, the only way he can control, I guess, bullet time is with his cat, and his cat is literally called Deja Vu. And if you don't remember, Deja Vu is a glitch in the Matrix that shows you that something changed in the Matrix. Yet now it's a physical pet cat that Neil Patrick Harris has. And it's so silly, but I love it. I love it. It's so ridiculous because he is so hammy with his performance. You could tell Neil Patrick Harris had fun playing this villain because he was like having so much fun. I haven't seen him have this much fun being a villain since he played Count Olaf in a series of unfortunate events. And he is just hamming up this performance. He is enjoying every single moment. I just feel like every day when he has to go to set, he's like, "Ooh, I get to work today." I feel like that's what he was thinking every time he went on set and just hamming it up. And he's not only just an architect, I think he's also Neo's therapist. And by therapist, I mean he is trying to make sure that he stays in the Matrix and purposely force him to think that the Matrix is real and not what he's seeing. These so-called visions or hallucinations he's thinking he's having. And it is and it's very clever. I actually do like that. It's like, oh, how are you going to keep him sustained and keep him thinking that he's actually in a real world and make sure that he doesn't get out of the Matrix? And it's like, easy, have him be with a therapist that can lie to him. I did like that. I like the creative things in this movie, especially like robots and humans working together. They like a lot of new changes to the Matrix to make it feel more video gamey, kind of, which was silly, but I loved it. I also did love that the Maravisian, who used to be like this high class, rich digital AI program, uh, he's now a crazy homeless man because the old AI programs got purged years ago. Like all the AI programs got purged and deleted. And and the Maravisian was probably one of the few people, and including his bodyguards, I think, were they became like these weird looking crazy homeless people. And I laughed so hard because I was like thinking, when is the Mirror Vision coming into the movie? And then you see him and he's like this crazy homeless guy. And I'm laughing so hard. He's like speaking in French and he's swearing in French too. He's so angry, like you have ruined everything that we have created. He's like so mad. I was like, I love this. I love this. Uh, yes, I did like it. There were creative things, especially I liked like the different direction they did in the first half of the movie. People feel more lively, more emotion. Like there's not like it doesn't feel like they're talking in monotone like like I gotta say this exposition thing and then yada 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 this exposition thing as well. Like they don't feel like what they used to in the original movies where they're all monotone. Few people would disagree with me, but I would think like I don't know, they feel more livelier. I feel like there's more emotion to them in this movie than in the original trilogy, if I'm being honest. I could be wrong. I could be reading it differently, but I don't know. I recently saw the trilogy this week, so I pretty sure that the actors have done better in their performances, I think, than the original trilogy. But that's my opinion. Uh, but I do have problems with this movie. And as much as I like everything about it that's so over the top and ridiculous about it, and also a cynical kind of nature to it as well, of Lana telling the audience, I really didn't want to fucking make this movie kind of aspect to it. As much as I like that, as much as I did enjoy myself with the characters and the lore and story and world building that they did in this movie, that was so ridiculous, but I loved it. As much as I like that, the movie is far from good, mainly for its action. Now, I wasn't opposed to when Lana said when she said, I don't want to do the same thing that we did in 2003 and 1999. And I understand what she's saying because she said this. She said that a lot of people, after The Matrix was made, a lot of people copied what they did in the Matrix movies. And she's not wrong. There are a lot of movies after the Matrix because the Matrix did like inspired a lot of other film directors, and also was a like a visual effects technological spectacle back then, because they did change film with the visual effects that they did in the past that no one thought that could ever happen. It was technically a game changer in the film industry, and a lot of people have copied it, mainly for like all the philosophical stuff and the martial arts. And I think the one movie I think copied it a lot as well was Equilibrium. Equilibrium did had kind of like that Matrix quality to it. And I do love Equilibrium. I thought Equilibrium was a pretty damn good movie. And I did love the Gunkata as well. That movie was crazy. But yeah, a lot of movies have been inspired by the Matrix, the whole martial arts, the kung fu, or and such. And seeing like Resident Evil technically did it as well, where Alice ran up against a wall and fucking like kicked the shit out of a zombie dog. And um also people who parodied the Matrix, like Shrek parodied the Matrix when they did like the whole like bullet time thing, and then and such. Like a lot of people have copied the Matrix or parodied the Matrix so many times for the past decade. Like in the 2000s, the Matrix was like so parodied to death. Freaking in the 2010s, I think people were still trying to make fun of the Matrix, and I'm like wondering, this joke is getting fucking old. How much longer are we gonna do this joke about the Matrix? It was like everyone was so obsessed with making fun of it or trying to be it with the technical aspect of it and the martial arts. And not gonna lie, I am glad that Matrix did kinda brought martial arts to the States kind of. I would say Jackie Chan moreover as well, but it was great to see a lot of martial arts movies come to Hollywood because I did like that. I did like they had variety, but there's always that problem that um that couldn't mimic the Matrix that much. Some did better, some did worse. Some didn't do the same training and preparation and dedication as the Wachowskis did when they had all the actors learn how to do all the stunt work and moves in the film. And some actors can't do that. Some actors are not Keanu. Some actors are not Lawrence Fishburne and Carrie-Anne Moss. But then again, they fucking like kind of broke their bodies when they were training to do the work in the film. And Jesus, I can tell that they really did uh try try their damnness to try and learn all these moves, because I guess they wanted to do less, stunt people and more seeing the actors actually do it. And they have done it. They seen these actors actually doing these cool moves that they trained to do in these movies was pretty damn awesome, when they could have easily said, let's just go and get a stunt person and they can do the rest. And I'm glad that the Matrix was like the Wachowskis were like, no, no, no. We're gonna make sure that they are actually doing it. While other movies are like, well, they can't do it. They're not physically fit to. So I guess we have to try to put a stunt person there and do a lot of quick cut editing to make it look seamless that they are doing these fight scenes this fast. And that's where the problem lies. This seeing those cool moves in all three Matrix movies, less cuts, seeing a performance like a dance happen in those movies, seeing that beautiful stunt choreography work and everything is sadly not in this movie. I mean, the fighting's there, the training is there. Clearly, they did show the actors and got them through intense training to fight in this movie. But the passion and the direction is not there. And it feels like Lana regressed. Because this felt like a regress. Like this felt like this is not the same cool action fight scenes that we saw in the Matrix. This feels like a terrible version of it where it's just quick cut editing, shaky cam. Oh my god, I never thought I would see shaky cam in a Matrix movie and quick cut editing and freaking like that slow motion kind of effect that you see in the 90s a lot or in the early 2000s, that or like that, you know, that fast forward effect that we used to do in the 2000s. Die Another Day did it. What other movies did it? John Woo did it. Uh, uh, I think the second Mission Impossible movie did it as well. Well, that was also John Woo, so that's not fair. But a lot of movies done that, and it kind of was annoying. I mean, at the time, I thought it was silly, ridiculous, and I loved it. But since like we live in the age where Keanu Reeves can do these cool action scenes that are seamlessly one take, which is the John Wick films, and they use less cuts in that film to direct the action pretty cool. And we could do that with John Wick. We can do that with Atomic Blonde. We can do that with Nobody. And those movies did a great job making action pretty cool. Even a few people who are trying to mimic the basically the John Wick kind of genre of movies. People are trying to mimic that same flavor. And in some respects, they have done it pretty successfully, because I have seen these movies that have done the action pretty solid. That movie with Chris Hemsworth, what was it called? Extraction? Did a pretty good solid job with the stunt choreography, with a few fight scenes in that movie. I thought was pretty decent. The movie wasn't for me. It was kind of, you know, boring for me. But I did enjoy what they did in that film with they were very passionate with the action and direction in that film. But and I feel like The Matrix is like that movie that was inspired by it, especially since in the John Wick movies, the directors of these movies are the same stunt work people that did the Matrix movies. And you can tell that they have an eye for action and fight scenes, and they're pretty cool at doing it. And seeing that this Matrix movie just digress, like fall apart with its action. I thought I was gonna see some cool fight stunt choreography, some great fight work, some great martial arts, and I'm a fucking fan of martial arts, man. I thought I was gonna see some great action, and it's there. It's like trying to get out. This action, this great like stunt work is trying to get out. And I know the director of John Wick, the guy who did the stunt work for the first 3 Matrix movies, he did come back to do it, yet the direction is not there. And it hurts. It really hurts seeing how poorly edited, poorly directed these action scenes felt. I mean, I had more fun with like the motorcycle chasing at the end of the movie, seeing the Neo use his powers. He failed to fly because I guess he couldn't do that ability yet. He's not ready yet. Seeing all this cool work and interesting stuff they did in this movie, I thought was entertaining, but I wish the martial arts was filmed better. And it's such a depressing downgrade. It just feels so depressing seeing this action just poorly made. And I get it. Lana said that she wanted to do something different because she's like thinking, I can't do the same stuff. I should do something different. And I thought she was thinking, yes, maybe she'll do something creatively different. But it just felt like a downgrade to the other Matrix movies, which is sad. Is the fourth movie like, do I put it high up there with the trilogy? Not really, but I will say it is not a bad Matrix movie. I know there's gonna be like die-hard fans of the Matrix saying like, this movie is not that great. Oh, this movie is a betrayal to the Matrix mythos and everything. And maybe they're right. Maybe they are talking facts, saying like, yeah, this was not as great as the other three movies. And you know what? That's understandable because there are flaws in this movie that is depressing to see that they're not as great. It could have been better. I'm just glad that it wasn't worse. Worse would have been if one of the Wachowskis, if the one of the Wachowskis didn't direct this and didn't write this. That's what I feel. I mean, it is banking on nostalgia, and a creator is forced to make another movie of it, even though they didn't want to, sadly. And it's sad. Did I want to see the Wachowskis make a big, fantastic return to the big screen for movies? Well, they haven't directed a movie since what? Jupiter Ascending? And they were more focused on, I think, a TV show, if I'm correct, that they made, which is fine. I'm not opposed to them saying like they want to take more creative form to shows, which is nice. You want to expand and make a big story by making a TV show. That's actually pretty good. So you don't be restrained to the confinements of a film. It's, I don't know. I was not disappointed, which is good. I was glad I wasn't disappointed with this. Is it unnecessary of a sequel? Most definitely it is unnecessary of a sequel. Oh, and seeing Trinity becoming the one in this movie, because she starts flying instead of Neo. I mean, he eventually flies at the end of the movie. While we hear this terrible cover song of Wake Up by Rage Against the Machine. I don't know. I was like, this doesn't have the same kick to it than the original version. And I was like, I know you wanted to recreate the first movie by ending it with the same song that you put in the first film, but nah, this ain't it, Chief. Though I did love seeing Carrie-Anne Moss fucking drop kick Neil Patrick Harris and breaking his jaw. I did love that. It is something. This is a movie that clearly a director didn't want to make, but I can see they had enjoyment making it with the actors that are very passionate and in love with this franchise. And that's still good. I'm not saying that they half-assed this movie. Not at all. It's clear that, all of these people who are working on this movie still want careers after this, and they want to at least give at least a good final presentation of this film, and I like that. And I I can say this. Will I be not interested if they made a sequel to this movie? Yeah, I feel like with the end of this movie, I feel like just end it there. Like that was good. It was a nice time travel back to 1999 after first seeing this movie. It was a nice little like a time machine back to the 2000s. I liked that it did took me to a nice escape from reality for a bit and made me reminisce about the 2000s and 90s. I was like, you know what? I like that. It did. It brought me back to a nice time when I was a little kid. And I'm glad for that, but I don't think we need another sequel to it. And if they do make a sequel to this movie, which I hope to God they don't, uh I say I hope the action is better than this. I give this movie 6.9 out of 10. There's a lot of things I enjoy with this movie. It could have been higher. It could have been a 7 out of 10 for me, but I really wish the action was better. I really wished a lot of things were done differently, but I say the movie did a great job uh with making this movie. I loved Keanu Reeves. I love all the actors that came in. Even what's his name? Yahya Abdul something. I forgot his last name. I'm sorry. Uh I did like him as like Morpheus, but he's not Morpheus. He's an AI version of Morpheus. Man is killing it. This actor is killing it. He's like he is having fun with his performance as Morpheus in this movie. He was having fun with that role. Uh, dude is a great actor. I'm glad I'm seeing more movies of him because I saw him in Candyman and I loved him in Candyman. And I liked him in this. He was great in that. Jessica Henwick. I am so happy to see Jessica Henwick back in something again because I haven't seen her in anything since Iron Fist, which I'm thinking hopefully she might come back as her character in the Iron Fist since I know they're bringing back Netflix MCU characters back into the franchise. Uh I liked her in this, and I liked her in Blade Runner Black Lotus. She's really good in that too. Uh who else? I heard Christina Ricci was in this movie. I didn't see her. I don't know who she was in the movie. I could be stupid and blind, and I didn't recognize her probably. And I was like, "Who was Christina Ricci?" I could have glossed over her, and I was like, "Oh, there she was." And maybe if I see the movie again, I'll be like, "There she is." I didn't see her. Um, I didn't see her, but that's the second time she's worked with the Wachowskis. First time being a Speed Racer. Um, and who else was in it? Oh yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith's back. As much as I don't like her after the whole Will Smith thing, she's good in this. She is great in this too. I did enjoyed her character in this. She did a great job in this movie. I thought she was pretty good. And that was some damn good old person makeup because it did look like she was an old woman in this movie. Pretty good. That is probably it about what I have to say, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy from Matrix Resurrections, how silly it is, how self aware it is. I enjoyed it. Maybe I might not enjoy it a second time, who knows? But I thought it was pretty decent of a movie. But yeah, am I recommending this? If you never liked The Matrix, when it came out, you're not gonna like it. But if you're a Matrix fan or you're looking to get into the Matrix franchise and probably going to do a whole movie marathon on them and see if you like it, I say watch the first movie first. And if you don't like the first movie, then you're not going to like Resurrections. And if you do like the trilogy, you may not like it because it's a mixed bag. Because there are a few fans of the Matrix, and I'm talking about the hardcore ones that didn't like it, and some of the casual fans that did like it. I'm a casual fan of Matrix, so I enjoyed it just fine. But I have a few complaints. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. You can subscribe if you want to. I'm not forcing you. You can like this video if you want to. That'd be cool. You can follow me on social media like Twitter, or you can follow me on Twitch, even though I haven't been streaming much lately. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you, Wolfpack, somewhere. Ciao.
Ow, ow, ow! Ow! Ow!